All right. We are back live using cell phone technology. And we now need to just reconnect with everyone.
Get everybody back on. Hello.
Yep. Here we go. Sharing, people gathering.
We got 3 peoples.
Yes.
That hasn't come up yet. The Wi-Fi isn't active.
Oh, okay. Got it. Awesome. We're working on it.
Yes.
Yay. Thank you, Kirsten, you're back, and Danelle's back. Hopefully we get Amber back. I know she was tired. She might have decided to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we popped back up to 10.
Yes.
Yay.
Hopefully we still have guys on.
Yes, that would be awesome if we got some guys back on.
That's right. Okay, so let's just jump right in because we were talking about food or dinner, making those dinner decisions. And as I was sharing before, I like to think about it. Elizabeth wants something within the next 10 seconds decision-made process, which does cause a lot of stress in our relationship right around dinner time.
That's correct. So what I was sharing with Kirsten is one of the things that I started doing a long time ago was I started offering options to Fred. Like I might say, I'm thinking of doing AM and the PM, or I can do sausage and garlic rice. I'll give him 2 or 3 options, and it narrows it down for him. And then of those 2 or 3, he goes, I would prefer this.
That's right.
And then one thing that I do want to just caveat with that is once you offer options and your husband responds to those options, go with the option he chooses.
That's right.
Versus going and doing your own thing as though what was the point in wasting his time to ask him to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an important aspect as well. So just wanted to share that as a helpful thing. Welcome back, Amber. We are glad you were able to get on. Okay, so we're going to talk about coping with stress, and let me get right to couple of things. So here is a more clinical definition of stress.
Go clinical.
Stress is a response to pressure or threat. And when we're under stress, we have feelings. So we could feel tense and anxious, on edge, or we might have a physical response to stress as well. Because what happens is stress actually triggers kind of an explosion of the hormone adrenaline. Mm-hmm. And of course, that affects our nervous system and how we're interacting.
That's right, because your heart starts to beat faster, your muscles get more tense because they're ready to spring. Now, stress isn't bad. You need stress in your life because those are the things that are the responses to your environment. If something is going to go down or go wrong, you're aware of that and your stress level picks up, but those are the things that allow you to move quickly or make,
yes.
You're going to make those decisions based upon what's happening around you, and stress is part of that. So we're not saying that you need to eliminate all stress in your life. It's just that recurring stress, the stress that just hangs out, or the stress that you dwell upon. That's really what we're looking to address this evening.
And so what we were saying is, yes, there's stress within the marriage, but oftentimes what really plagues marriages is the stress that's happening on the outside that affects the marriage. Work stress, children, raising kids, aging parents, finances, yes. All of those things can really serve to develop or cause stress in a marriage. And so how do we cope with that? Well, first, Fred and I thought it might be interesting to just share a little bit about how we each respond differently to stress. Because that way you can relate, and we can also you can also explore a little bit of the differences between husband and wife and the response to stress. Okay, so for me, when I am feeling I'm going to focus on the feel words. I definitely have that tense. I think the phrase on edge is good for me because I get short in my answers. My tone is not good. And I'm just not nice. I mean, when I saw that, I am not nice. So stress definitely affects me. I'm aware of those emotions. Sometimes the feel you occurs. I'm glad that you can. So I definitely sense that stress, and I on edge would definitely be the way to describe me. What would be something for you?
For me, when I get stressed, I typically just, well, one, communication comes down to a grinding halt. You know, it becomes more of a grunty type thing. You like this? You know, if anything. But for me, I respond to more physical means. Primarily, I start, you know, I'll find that my shoulders are up, or I'm just like physically tense. I'll grind my teeth. And the weird thing is, even after I go to sleep and I'm now in, you know, what's truly unconscious mode, I'm still grinding my teeth. So I'll wake up the next day with monster headache, neck ache, jaw ache. And, you know, if you've ever woken up with a migraine type situation, you know that you're definitely not stress-free at that point, because the pain is just there and you're just feeling sick and everything else.
So stress can affect us, and by the way, Allison's like, she's the same way regarding the on edge. Stress can affect us both emotionally in the feeling aspect, but also physically. Sure. You know, where that's concerned too. For me, physically, and I dealt with this growing up as well, and even still in adulthood, when I'm under high stress, I get fever blisters. They are, if you've ever dealt with fever blisters, they are not fun. And they're very painful. I'm thankful that I have proper medication that helps get rid of them very quickly now. But no, it's not a shocker, Allison, that you feel the same way. We think alike.
Y'all hilarious.
Yes. So definitely, I have physical responses to stress as well. I also can get really bad mouth ulcers too when I'm under a lot of stress. So those are just some ways that Fred and I respond. And then I'll tell you, when it comes to stress that's involved in dealing with our boys, I mean, listen, there are times where I'm struggling with my tone and the volume because I get so frustrated, and that stress rises up, and next thing you know, I am full volume, basically throwing it down.
And maybe a little bit of disrespect. To
the boys?
To our boys.
For sure.
Yes.
That is, and I talked about that on a previous video where I talked about resources for marriage. And, you know, it's something that I'm working on, and that I have to be very conscious of it. Amber says her blood sugars go through the roof. She's a diabetic, type 1 diabetic. So I hadn't thought about that, Amber, but I can imagine that that rush of adrenaline would affect your blood sugar. So that's actually a very, I hadn't really thought about that.
You know, my blood sugars go through the roof too, and I'm under stress, but that's because I'm eating. Lots of candy.
A lot of people respond to stress with stress eating. So,
well, you know what though? You know what stressed spelled backwards is?
Dessert.
Desserts.
Desserts. Oh.
Desserts. Otherwise,
plural.
Tressed is dessert backwards. Stressed is desserts backwards. And I definitely can go find me some comfort and some de-stress in a whole key lime pie.
Woo, goodness, that's a lot of sugar. Okay, so here are some things that we wanted to share with you, practical, because we have to be careful with your time, some practical things that you can do in order to help cope with the stress. Now, you know what, I want to pause for a second on...
Time out.
Well, no, I guess it's not a pause like that, but I wanted to add something in that we didn't really talk about. Most of the time when women are stressed and they want to talk about it, they want to talk it through, and they want to, I mean, like, they will go after their man. I need for you to talk with me about this because I am stressed. And for a man, when he's stressed, he tends to do what?
Climb up.
Yeah.
Shut that joker down.
The last thing he wants to do is talk. And so that in and of itself can cause more stress because the woman wants to talk about it, the man, that's the last thing he wants to do.
I want to talk about it. I just, you know, because in Man Nation, lots of times if there's something stressful because there's something wrong, if I just don't pay attention to it, it should just go away on its own.
Yeah.
That's also my personal health plan too.
That doesn't work.
This kind of hurts. This feels weird. You know what?
Yeah.
Don't go to the doctor. I don't want to talk about it. That causes more stress. Let me just ignore it, and eventually it goes away.
No, Allison brought up a very good point. She put, or not eating. Like when you're stressed, not eating. A lot of times people, when they're stressed in a job situation, they'll go a whole day with no food because they are so stressed or dealing with the stress that either they've forgotten to eat or they're just denying that that hunger. So
or that just stomach's all in knots and upset.
Yes,
and
they can't eat. Yes.
That's not my problem.
That typically is not your problem. But there are some times, would you stop it? There are some times where it's hard for you to eat. Okay, so here are some practical things you can do to cope with stress.
First thing you do is reduce the things that might cause you more of an elevated heart rate or blood pressure, like caffeinated products. Okay?
Yes, so sodas, coffee, for
Mountain Dew, Monster.
Yeah, those
Four
things,
Loko, any of those things.
Those things can be are not good when you're already in a stressful situation, or you might be going into a stressful situation. The other thing that's important whenever it's possible is you need to get more sleep. One of the things I've learned about myself, I can operate on very little sleep for about 3 days. And then by the 4th day, mama ain't happy because I am tired, my brain is foggy, I'm processing more slowly, which frustrates me. So I am short, I'm more sarcastic, I am definitely way not patient. Why are you looking at me that way?
You're a witness. You're a witness.
So you need more sleep. That is always a good remedy for dealing with stress. Okay, the other would be, tell them about counting their blessings.
Oh, you know what? There's an old gospel hymn that says, count your many blessings, name them one by one. And you might be like, well, I don't know exactly how to do that. Well, we call it the ABCs of thankfulness.
Yes.
All right, you start with the letter A, and you think of one thing in your life, in your day, that you are thankful for that begins with the letter A. And for me personally, what I'll do is, let's say, letter A. Gotta think about
Anthony.
Oh yeah, our son. Oh, okay, how about that? When things are tough. Now, this is the challenge though, because many times I believe that the source of my stress is our oldest son, Anthony. All right, and so I'm thinking, I need to count my blessings. So I'm going to start off with the letter A. Oh, guess what? Anthony, our son. So how on earth is it that I'm going to be thankful for the one that is causing me the stress? But you know what? You can't be thankful and stressed out over the same thing. It just doesn't work that way.
And you also, it's hard to be critical when you're being thankful.
That's right.
And that's another aspect as well. And so, A is for Anthony. B is for, sometimes I'll use a different A, but I'll say B is for our boys. Like, I'm thankful for our boys.
2 for 1. That's so efficient. That's Polaric, right? That's
Anthony's a great babysitter.
Yes, he is.
C is for, I'm thankful for our church, and our church family. And D, I'm thankful for, no pressure, stress. He's going, you did not prepare me.
You see, I told you about that whole thing about, hey, what do you want for dinner? I'm like,
dessert. I'm thankful for dessert.
Okay, I'm thankful for dessert too. But,
so what's an E you're thankful for? That's way too long. Just saying. My first name starts with an E.
Oh, it does. But see, I call you Liz.
Okay, for Facebook land out there, I do not allow, in general, shortening of my name. Now, Fred, he rarely ever calls me that, but yeah, he's doing that on purpose. We'll be talking about that.
There's a little more stress
later.
That's right. There's your teeth,
right,
buddy. But on the ABCs of thankfulness, it's not just enough to say, or for me, I don't just say, Lord, thank you for E, Elizabeth. Because you can be real short and curt and just kind of make it a checklist thing, A for Anthony, B for baseball, C for my car, D for dessert, E for Elizabeth. And the thing about it is that you can't just say I'm thankful for and then move on. I say I'm thankful for Elizabeth because, and I find one thing in particular that I'm specifically thankful for, and that way, not only am I being purposeful in my mind and in my heart before the Lord to say, I'm thankful for Elizabeth, even though there are times that we do have stress.
Yes.
But in naming something that I'm thankful for, it helps redirect my mind off of what I'm stressing about, and puts it more towards, a happier place, a better light, a better situation. And it reminds me that this stress is here right now. But my thankfulness, that's deep-seated, deep-rooted. It's been planted, it's been watered and nourished. And taking that time to name what you're thankful for, who you're thankful for, and why you're thankful. That will help de-stress.
And one little quick tip on that has worked really well for Fred and I. When we've been in super stressful seasons and we both, maybe at different times, struggle to sleep, or we wake up in the middle of the night and our brain starts going about that stressful situation, we will do the ABCs of thankfulness in the middle of the night while we're laying in bed. Not together, just individually, like in our own minds.
You wake. Give me a letter J. I've got no letter J.
I got no letter J. There are a couple where I'm like, oh, what am I? But I will tell you, rarely have I ever gotten to the end of the alphabet before I've fallen asleep.
That's right.
It is a beautiful, beautiful thing to soothe your mind, your soul, your heart by going through the ABCs of thankfulness when you cannot sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, another one that we talked about was unplugging and decluttering.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to let you do unplugging, and I'll do decluttering.
Okay, so when it comes to unplugging, we've got our phones, our tablets, our computers, our television, our radio. A lot of times when I'm talking with other guys about what's stressing them, they're talking about things that are completely out of their control. Whether you invest in stocks or the stock market or whatever, a lot of them are like, I'm watching this number and it's up, and then an hour later it's down, or it's up. It didn't go up as much as it went down. They're watching that little ticker tape thing flow through, and that can be stressful. I get stressed just watching my friends get stressed. So you got to unplug from that. Maybe I used to be a headline news kind of junkie where what's going on in the world, and if there's a big thing like there was a looks like a bombing in England tonight at a concert,
terrible.
And in the past, I would go look that up, and then I would try to find every conspiracy theory related to that, and try to figure out how it went down or why it went down, and then I'd be watching the news as it unraveled to see how far or how close or how far off base I was, which, that's really out of my control, but I would get all worked up over that. Even the elections, a lot of people, were worked up before, during, and after. It's done. We need not stress over those things. So I say unplug from those things. Turn off the radio, turn off the television, set your phone down away from you, set your tablet down away from you, far away from you, so that you don't have those things bombarding you, adding to your stress level for things that you really can't control.
Yeah, that's so true. And Crystal's offering praying for the person who's causing the stress.
No, I don't like that. Because I'm righteous, and I like to point that big old finger of judgment all over them.
That's not true. Okay, and actually wishing them well helps a ton, and I agree with that, Crystal. Why? Because it takes your mind, again, off of being critical and focuses it on that person who is causing stress. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk about decluttering your calendar. A lot of times there's stress because you've said yes to too many things. And yes, I am guilty, chief sinner, right here. Okay, your point has been made. Okay, so you got to declutter your calendar. You got to, sometimes you just have to go, I'm done. I've got to cancel these things. Can't be there. That's not happening. You have got to make some space to give your brain room to rest, your body time to rest, because here's what happens. If you choose not to do it, sickness or some kind of issue with your body will force you to do it.
That's right.
And so we highly encourage you, declutter that calendar and make time for being able to, give yourself the grace to say no.
But they need me.
Yeah,
I'm that important.
That's the problem.
I'm that important.
That is the problem. We tend to think that. And, sometimes you just have to say, you know what, thank you so much for thinking of me. But I'm going to have to say no to that opportunity. Simple as that. You're not responsible for telling them why. You don't have to go into the I'm saying no because. You can just graciously say no and trust that God can meet their need in another way.
Right. Allison says no is one of God's greatest gifts.
Yes, it is. That is so true. Okay.
True.
The other thing that we talked about was having fun together.
Yes.
In a marriage, it's so important that you do have fun together. And remember, if you want to know some creative ways to have couple time, see our video from last week. Just scroll down and you can watch the video from last week, and there are lots of fun, creative ways to have fun because we've got to finish this up.
That's right.
Okay.
Cleric.
Yep. That's part of my job. During non-stressful times, you need to be making deposits into the respect tank and the love tank.
That's right. So, guys, one thing that you can do to help soften the blow from the stress bomb when it explodes is to make sure that you've accurately padded your environment.
Yes.
Doing things like, simple things. Get the door for your wife. Do the dishes. Help straighten up. Do something that speaks into her life, her love language, and makes deposits into her love tank. You're like, man, I ain't scrubbing the toilet. But if it makes your wife happy.
Yes, think about Mr. Clean commercial, baby. We talked about that in February after
Super Bowl.
Okay, so it's all about the Mr. Clean commercial. Woo! Okay.
Wait. You thinking about Mr. Clean and ways I need to be aware of?
No, I'm thinking about you in white tight pants. Sorry,
I'm working it.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it.
I'm working it.
Oh goodness. So for the guys, yeah, that should be the face. For
I bleach.
Sorry, I gotta rate it in.
Right.
For the guys, you can be making deposits into their respect tank by, first of all, building them up versus being critical. Really focusing on the things where they are good, where they are strong, and really encouraging them in that. Noticing those things that they are doing, those are definite ways that you can speak into the respect tank. Watching your tone, watching your body language, these are all opportunities for you to speak into the respect tank of
That's
your
right.
husband. And that gives us to our last one, and we probably thought this was one of the most important ones. This is regardless of love language, you need to get physical. What's that song? Let's get physical, physical. I wanna get physical. Let me hear your body talk. Your body talk. Oh my goodness. Okay, that was awesome. Or we thought it was awesome. They might think it was terrible.
High five us.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. Physical, let's first talk about things like holding hands. Listen, you need to have a certain amount of physical touch in order to just help you to deal with stress.
That's
Hugs
right.
are so important. Kisses are so important. These are all things that will help you to really cope with stress. Why? Because it helps you to know that your spouse is there.
That's right.
Everything might be crazy around us, but when we know and we have security that things are well between us, we can deal with a lot. We can deal
That's right.
with stress a lot better.
Mhm.
And then I'm gonna finish up with this regarding get physical. One of the best ways to lower your stress level, and by the way, this is they have done studies on this, is to have sex.
What was that?
To have sex.
One more time?
You should have sex. Of course, we're talking about within your marriage.
That's right.
That's how we're going to
Remember,
always
this
reference
is
that.
Rock My Marriage.
Yes,
Okay, it's
rock
my marriage.
my marriage. Hey, Gayla just joined in when we
That's
started
right.
talking about having sex.
And
Coincidence?
And Brian came on just a little bit before that, so hey, Brian.
But what happens is because of that level of physicality, you're going to be flooded with endorphins.
Endorphins.
And
happy.
that creates those happy feelings, and that's going to lower the stress level.
That's right.
And
the opposite of stress is euphoria.
I like that. So here's the thing that I want to say, especially for ladies. Typically when we're stressed, we don't want to have sex, okay? Lots of sex. Yeah. Depending on your level of stress, you might need a lot of it.
That's right.
But typically when for women, because we are more emotional people, we want to shy away from that. And ladies, I want to encourage you, embrace it, because it will do such wonders for your coping ability and the lowering of your stress. It's so important that you not that you walk away. Don't walk away from it. Walk to it. Really make it a priority.
That's right. And for guys, I've heard guys personally tell me that when they're under stress, that they find themselves more drawn to pornography and things like that because they just need an outlet. And I want to tell you guys, be strong. Be strong in your faith. Be strong and committed and pure in your relationship. That if you're under stress, you can just go to your wife and say, I'm under a lot of stress. And wife, take that as a clue that he might need something to break that stress, to break the psychological attack he's under. But lots of guys, when they're under stress, will commit, heinous things against their own bodies, against their marriages and things like that. Not saying, that it's not an excuse by any means, but definitely having that intimacy, that physical intimacy, yes, that build up, that release, all those things will help to bring the stress level down.
Yes.
And it will just solidify your relationship even more, that even during the tough times, the hard times, the stressful times, that there can still be that physical intimacy, that literal nakedness, whether it's, you're thinking the physical sense or the emotional or spiritual mental, yeah, psychological sense. The fact that you share that in the stressful time just bonds you together more closer.
Yeah, agreed. So this has not been an exhaustive list on coping with stress. This has been the Elizabeth and Fred practical things that we have found.
That's right.
That have worked well for us.
Look at this big old deposit Scott Rosario just put there. Nothing can replace my wife. Believe that. So
he loves his woman.
That's right.
And I know she loves him too.
Right.
So your challenge this week is to really think about how do you cope with stress, and really maybe try something new, whether it's ABCs of thankfulness or unplugging or decluttering.
Keep going.
And we talked about reducing caffeination or getting more sleep, whatever it is. Really determine whether or not you need to make a change that can make a difference in your life. Oh, yes. And we promised, like 3 weeks ago, that for viewers who actually watched our video, we would give away a gift card, Starbucks, baby.
Okay, now, just a disclaimer.
Yes.
Starbucks is everywhere. So that's why we're using Starbucks.
Correct.
Because if you're in town and you win this, you can come and join us at Big B. Or we'll just send you the Big B card otherwise.
Correct.
Because Big B is way better than Starbucks.
Okay, now be careful. You don't want to defame.
I'm not defaming. I'm just proclaiming.
You're proclaiming. I like that. So we actually have 3 Starbucks gift cards that we're going to give away for the last 3 weeks. So if you've been a viewer over the last 3 videos, then we're going to do a drawing from each of the, even Gayla agrees that Big B is way better, and so does Allison.
That's right.
So if our local ladies win, we'll be sure to pass you a Big B card.
That's right.
Any of our local peeps. So that's what we're going to be doing that, and we're putting it on video so that we have accountability.
That's right.
And what we would encourage you to do, don't just go by yourself to Starbucks. Take your spouse.
That's right.
And actually have, Jamie's like, apparently I need to try Big B. Oh, girl, yes. I'm taking you to Big B. It will be on me. We definitely have to go and have a little girlfriend date at Big B.
Oh, I guess I'm not going.
Oh, I'll take you too. All right. So that is your that's your challenge this week. We so appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Have a super week.
Wait. And remember, if you have something in your relationship that you're like, man, this can't just be us, or I wonder about these things, you know what? Send us a message. Post it here in the comments or on the Rock My Marriage page. Let us know what you're thinking. Or you can send Elizabeth or I individual messages. A lot of you have our phone number, so you can text us also. Just please include your name so we don't just get stray numbers with questions. And just ask those questions, because we'd love to be able to answer them for you, because chances are you're not alone.
That is correct. So until next Monday, have a super week, and we will see you back here on Monday. Oh, that's Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
Oh, but we're still going to go live.
That's right.
So hopefully we'll do it later in the evening. So
maybe we'll do it from our remote location.
Oh, our remote location would be good. Okay, we'll see. We'll work on that.
That's right.
So until then, we'll see you next time on Marriage Matters Monday.